Good morning, welcome to the garden. So today we had a little bit of a accident in the container pond last night. I think maybe a squirrel or something jumped on my bog plant container. It spilled over into the pond and I'm gonna try to fix the situation. I think I need to clean out the whole pond. I've got the girls out here with me too, so this may be a little bit of a tricky video to shoot, but I'll at least show you some of the before, the after, and my plan. So this is the pond. As you can see, there's just like dirt and everything. It looks really kind of crazy. And then this was my container that had my bog plants, and I managed to save my pitcher plant, which had actually been looking really good, although now there's dirt all in it, so I don't know how that's gonna go. And then I had a Venus flytrap that was kind of dying. It actually flowered, which was very interesting, but then it kind of dead, so we'll see if I save that. I may just end up getting new bog plants and moving this to a different location in the garden, but I do have one other pitcher plant that is somewhere in the bottom of this, so I just figured I'm gonna clean the whole thing out and start fresh, and that's gonna be a good start. So the first thing I'm gonna do is get my bucket in here and get some water, and I'm gonna have to get the fish out of here because I do have a bunch of fish in the pond.
Wow.
And I'm gonna also try to save a lot of this this duck, I think this is called duckweed, right? It's been multiplying pretty well, so I don't need to worry about getting all of it because it does spread. But it's kind of cute in limited numbers. I know it can get really invasive in a pond, but right now I think it's, it's in limited numbers. It's kind of cute in the pond, so I'm gonna try to save as much as I can of that and get all the water out and clean it. The squirrels drink out of the pond, so I'm just assuming that one must have like jumped up on the side, or I've got a raccoon or something that's trying to eat my fish is the other option. So we'll also take an inventory and make sure all the fish are there and all of that. All right, it took me a while to empty that out, but I finally got it emptied, and I just rinsed it out with water a few times, really rinsed out all the rocks that are on the bottom here. I'm gonna try to level it a little bit because it actually wasn't super level the way I had it. And then I'm just gonna put in the seaweed again and the lily pad and everything. But yeah, I think this is a little bit more level than it was. Get it set up, and I'm gonna go ahead and spray off this rock that was in there. It's kind of covered in algae. And then we'll put all the fishies, they're all hiding down there. We'll put everybody back in. But so far this is looking good. It probably honestly is good for it to get cleaned out like this periodically. So, all right, time to clean everything off again and then rinse off all the seaweed and get it all planted back in. All right, here is the container pond. Just a few hours later, I ended up getting it put back together here in the actual container. So this is my pitcher plant, which I actually had inside and all over the winter and really enjoyed, but it's doing really well outdoors. It's got a new pitcher coming, and these two are pretty new, so I'm hoping that it's going to be happy here. And then I stuck a little piece of creeping Jenny. This was actually from my container pond last year. I didn't love the creeping Jenny, but I'm going to try it again. And this actually rooted. It was actually growing in the ground right here. It had rooted itself out of the container, so I just thought I'd pop it back in. And then this is a little bit of this moss. I had it over in my little container that I made for the girls, and so I figured I would just bring it back over here, so and stick it in the pond and see how it does. I don't really know if it's technically a bog plant, but we're just gonna see how it does. But everything is looking pretty good. The lily pads are kind of just like readjusting, and I've seen the fish swimming around. They're hiding now because I'm right here, but they've been swimming around, so I think everything is good. I did go ahead and condition this water with some water conditioner because we do have tap water, so because of that we've got chlorine and different things in the water, and it's really important to condition the water, or else you'll actually end up hurting the fish. You could leave the water out for I think it's a few days or something like that, and that will also let it kind of off gas and get all the chemicals to evaporate. But since I was kind of doing a quick fix to just get this pond back up and running, I did just go ahead and put in the water conditioner just to make sure, and then that also helps to condition for the plants too. I didn't want them to be stressed by anything in the water. So hopefully this will be good. I'm kind of going to be watching it over the next couple days to see how it does. Last time I cleaned it out was I think a couple months ago when I moved it back over to this location, and I had an algae bloom. It kind of got a little cloudy. Was kind of bummed when I found that this had been disrupted this morning, because it was just starting to look really good. We gotten a really good rain that had kind of filled it up a bit, and I do find that the rainwater is really good for the pond, and it tends to help it stay clear and happy. But that's okay. We've got it cleared up now. And I'm just gonna see, I don't have a filter on this. For the past year, I just let the plants, like the plants in the pot, kind of take up some of the nutrients, and I was able to have a really good balance. I am gonna keep an eye on it though. I know I can use sorry if you hear those kids playing. Everybody's outside because it's a pretty evening. Those aren't my children, but there's a park just across the way. So as I was saying, I know I can condition the water more regularly, even if I'm not switching it out. That's something you can do. So I'm going to start reading into that process a little bit more. But so far, it worked. Last year it worked beautifully, just having the bog plants and the water plants and the fish, and they all seem to have a really good kind of little ecosystem going. So we will see. I did go over to the garden center today to see if I could find any other bog plants, because I wasn't sure what I was going to use in this pot, and I didn't really find anything that piqued my interest. But I did get really, really inspired seeing all the pond plants, and it kind of made me think about putting like an actual in-ground pond in here, that might be something that would be cool to do. I'm not quite sure. I would love to figure out a fountain situation. I have the little solar fountain right now that does a pretty good job, like on a nice, I'm just looking over here because the sparrows are coming down to the garden. I think they know that I come out here and turn the water on, and they like to come and drink from the drinking fountains, which is kind of cute. Not the drinking fountains, the sprinklers. They like to come down here and drink from the sprinklers, which is kind of cute. I don't have it on right now, guys. It's gonna rain tomorrow, I think, so I'm kind of not watering the garden tonight because I just don't want to overwater things. But anyways, yeah, I was super inspired by all of those plants and the different options, and I would like to get a better fountain situation. So the solar fountain works pretty well as long as you're in full sun, and I purposely put this container pond over here where it gets just like a little bit of afternoon sun, because I didn't want it in direct sun where it would overheat and heat up things too much for the fish. That can be a really big problem with a container kind of pond like this, is overheating. So I am going to look at like some different little like spitters and different things and see if I could set something up so that we get a little bit more of a fountain situation. I would also like the sound of running water. Right now, you know, in the evening there's no sun on the pond, so we're not getting any sound of running water. So that's something I'm kind of playing with. But in general, I'm just glad that I got it sorted out, and I'm loving this area. I have to show you some of these violas right here. If you've been following along, I started these from seed, and I just wanted to show you how they're looking while we're in the pond. So these are the brush strokes violas. I mean, isn't that a pretty little viola? I think this is the florist mix. And then we've got an Arkwright red. It was red or ruby, one of the two. And then this is the tiger eye. And I don't remember what these were called, but they're all doing really well and really blooming. So I started these, I believe, in January. And now here we are with them blooming beautifully. I have so many more viola seeds. I'm going to be starting so many violas from seed for the fall garden. I am so excited to fill up the whole garden for fall with all of these violas. because these guys are not going to make it too much longer, honestly. I'm going to be curious to see how they do and how long they do survive, but they're not going to get through the full summer just because it gets too hot here. But how pretty is that brush strokes viola? It doesn't even look real. It looks like someone tie-dyed it or something. And then of course, just, you know, traditional Johnny Jump Ups are cute too. But yeah, they're kind of over here. My layout as far as the overall look, I don't love. This is too chaotic for me. I need to come in and like remulch and reset this area around the pond a little bit. But I am happy with the individual viola plants. And then as you saw, I planted these sweet potato vines and the coleus. And then I seeded in here some tetra dill. So the dill is coming up. We've got some echinaceas coming up. Some of the blue spice basil is growing back there. We've got a few things. So I'm probably gonna wait until these violas start finishing up, and then I'll come back in maybe, you know, in a month or so and just remulch this whole area around the container pond so that it looks a little bit better, because right now it's looking a little bit scattered, and my peas that I tried to grow over here did not work. That's a fail. They look pretty terrible, but they'll come out, and then hopefully the whole cohesiveness of the area will come along. But I specifically chose all these lime green plants in the container pond so that they would pop against the water and really show up. And then we've got the red viola, or not violas, the red coleus kind of in the background. So hopefully that will provide like nice contrast, and that'll be a good look to have the green pops and then the red. I do find that in this corner where it is a bit shadier, the brighter colors like the lime greens tend to pop more. And I had some darker green things in the container pond last year, and they were really pretty when you were up close, but it didn't show up with quite as much punch as I think this little like island of green just kind of shows up in the pond. The only thing I don't like is that solar fountain, but it works for now, and hopefully this container pond will continue to settle and reestablish and get back to normal. Let's hope. Okay, so it is a few days later. I wanted to pop back out here and give you another follow-up update on the pond. So a couple days after I had it all cleaned out and I had the new bog plant set up in it, the same thing happened again. So I don't know if it was the same squirrel. We've got like a baby squirrel that's running around the garden, so maybe it's just causing trouble. Whatever happened, same animal, something came back through, and they had totally like shredded a bunch of the lily pad leaves. I think whatever animal it was fell in the pond and was not happy about it. There was a plant over here, one of the coleus had been torn out. Like it definitely looked like someone had had a hard time in the pond. All the fish are still there, and I just cleaned it out again. I got the seaweed back in here. There is another lily pad now starting to come up to the surface, but all my other lily pad leaves were completely shredded. Get that stem out. I just fed the fish. This is just pollen that's on the top. I cleaned out the whole pond again. Honestly, the pond looks really clear. The water looks really good. The seaweed looks happy. The fish are doing okay. I haven't put the new bog plants in. I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna do. I may end up getting my container for the bog plants that I had, or some container, and actually using some kind of like pond foam or something to secure it to that cinder block that I've got in the pond so that it's more secure. I may forego having a pond plant at all and just like change out the water more, kind of treat it like a fishbowl. I'm not sure. The bog plants originally were in there to provide some just help with like all the nutrients from the fish and everything, and keep the whole like pond in equilibrium. I know I can treat the water. I know I do have seaweed in there, so that's still doing some oxygenating. We've got the oxygenating seaweed, we've got the lily pad, so they are helping to take up some of the nutrients from the waste from the fish. And I don't know, I'm kind of at a point where I'm not quite sure how this little ecosystem is working. Typically, everything that I've read, having the bog plants is really important to create an ecosystem in your container pond. So I'm currently in the process of figuring out how to get bog plants in there that can't get knocked over, because when the dirt and everything just gets in the water, that is not good. So that's where we're at. I just wanted to give you a final update of the status as of right now, and I'll keep you posted if I figure it out. Probably some sort of more secure bug plant is going to be the answer, but it's just going to take me a while to work on that. So I just want to give you that update. Thank you so much for following along this process. Stay tuned. I will continue to give you updates on the container pond, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.